the social context is what traps the ego. By trying to defend yourself from other people, perceive me like this, treat me like this. When you remove the social context, the constraints of the ego, the limitations of the ego are removed as well. And slowly, you start being able to access hidden abilities that the person doesn't think they're capable of, but they are, but they think they are. All you want to do is create a condition in which you make a suggestion, in this case, immobility, and secondly, they can test the effectiveness of the suggestion for success. They're not testing it to failure, they're testing it for success. Once you have someone in a mindset where they habitually accept your ideas and test them for success, then you're about as good a shape as you can get with hypnosis, right? After that, it's just experience and guiding the client through various experiences to be able to access more and more complex phenomena, right?
How does one test for success?
Well, if they open their eyes, then they haven't succeeded. If their eyes are closed, they succeed. Same with the body. If they move an arm, they fail. If they don't move an arm, they pass. It's a really low level test, guys. This is not going to put people into a deep trance. They're not going to start hallucinating fluidly because of this and so on. We're getting them to a point where they can accept suggestions. That's all we're interested in. And the ritual we engage in is to separate us from social reality to the hypnotic reality, because in social reality, your persona, your ego has to come forward. It's the thing that lets you navigate through the social world. It's a valuable thing to have an ego, right? An ego that's out of control is a harmful thing, like anything else, right? But the social context is what traps the ego. By trying to defend yourself from other people, perceive me like this, treat me like this. When you remove the social context, the constraints of the ego, the limitations of the ego are removed as well. And slowly, you start being able to access hidden abilities that the person doesn't think they're capable of, but they are, but they think they are. Does it make sense? That's how I currently conceptualize hypnosis. So the trance ritual formally says, leave the way you normally talk to people and talk to me in a different way. And then, part of that trance ritual is absorbing their attention, because we've seen how absorbing attention amplifies experiences. Then we create acceptability, because if they can accept your ideas, it amplifies suggestibility. And then finally, we test for confirmation bias. Are they actually looking to make your suggestions succeed, or are they looking to find a point of failure for your suggestions? As long as they're looking for your suggestions to succeed and they find any excuse to say, look, it worked, then you're good to go. Then almost all, I think all the gifts I've got here today, but almost all the gifts I've created will end up working to some degree or another, right? Remember, these are gifts, not therapy. Gifts do something different to therapy. They operate in roughly the same place. It solves problems, it enhances performance, etc. The big distinction is there is nothing that their mind is locked on to say, this is a problem, I can't change. And that only happens when someone's worried about a problem enough that they prove to themselves they have a problem. Now you need hypnotherapy because you've got to loosen their beliefs first before the therapy works. With gifts, their beliefs aren't particularly strong one way or the other, so they're very happy to let the experience emerge and have a, look, some people will have an absolute miracle, some will have just a really interesting time, and occasionally your gifts will fail just because that person didn't know how to relate to them properly. At which point, you just get out of jail or just say, look, don't worry about it. It just means that we need to work a little bit longer to find out how your mind needs to make sense of these, to dissolve some obstacles along the ways, and then we're good to go. But 5 minutes is not enough time for that. Simple reframe.
If you found this insightful, make sure to subscribe for more fascinating discussions on the power of the mind and hypnosis.